Today, a massive, unpresentable turning point has taken place in the Russia-Ukraine war. A shocking official announcement has emerged from Moscow, sending shivers down the spine of the entire world, particularly European nations. Andrey Kolesnik, a highly prominent Russian political figure, issued a chilling warning, stating, "We are left with no other choice but to launch direct missile strikes against European nations, supplying weapons to Ukraine." This isn't just another routine, empty threat. Does this mean World War III is officially about to break out? What is actually happening on the ground? In this video, we are going to break down all the details clearly. First, let's look at the current situation on the battlefield. Ukraine and its Western backers, including the United States and the UK, initially believed they could easily defeat Russia. However, the situation on the ground has completely reversed. The Russian military is aggressively advancing across the eastern and southern fronts of Ukraine. According to recent official reports, Russia's Vostok military group has secured absolute control over a highly strategic area called Novo-skewato. In the Dnipro-petrovsk region, on this single front, hundreds of Ukrainian soldiers, armored vehicles, and advanced Western drones supplied to Ukraine have been entirely obliterated by Russian forces. Ukrainian forces attempted 5 intense counter-offensives to hold off Russia in the Pokrovsk axis, but every single attempt ended in crushing failure. This has completely shattered the morale of the Ukrainian troops. A sense of defeatism has set in among the soldiers who feel that regardless of how hard they fight, defeat is inevitable. Consequently, under Russia's very first major assault, Ukrainian forces were able to hold Novo-skewato, and we are forced to retreat, handing Russia an easy victory on the front. On top of that, towns considered key strongholds for the Ukrainian military are falling to Russia one by one. Defense experts have confirmed that primary Ukrainian units have initiated a retreat from the strategically vital town of Krasny Liman. Even the Institute for the Study of War, ISW, an organization is closely tied to Western intelligence, has openly concerned this in their latest reports. What's worse, Ukrainian troops trapped in the southern sectors of this town are now caught in daily bottleneck with no escape route. The exact same scenario is currently unfolding in coastal Lithuania. Reports indicate that Russian Defense Minister Andrey will soon make an official declaration confirming that the cities have fallen entirely under Russian control. While a strong military is essential for any country, fuel, electricity, and economic stability are even more vital. Without diesel, tanks won't run. Without electricity, weapons factories grind to halt. Recognizing this, Russia has deployed a systematic strategy to totally dismantle Ukraine's core infrastructure. In just the last 2 months, Russia has utilized precision missiles and drone strikes to level every major crude oil refinery and over 200 fuel storage and gas stations across Ukraine. For instance, a recent strike has entirely destroyed a final operation fuel depot in the town of Krasny Liman within Sumy region. And furthermore, key energy and gas protection plants in Poltava, Kharkiv, and Zaporizhzhia have suffered catastrophic damage. As a result, Ukrainian citizens are burning through their final drops of fuel. The situation has gotten so severe that Ukrainian truck drivers tasked with transporting diesel and petrol to frontline soldiers are outright refusing to drive to the border areas. They state that Russian chemical drones are specifically targeting and eliminating fuel trucks. This has triggered a massive logistics bottleneck for Ukrainian military. Looking over Zaporizhzhia, Russia has spent the last few days launching continuous missile strikes to systematically level industrial zones, railway locomotives, primary electrical grids, and weapon depots. This reveals a clear strategy to save all supply lines and logistics routes surrounding Zaporizhzhia, setting that stage for a massive heavy-duty Russian ground offensive. It wouldn't be surprising if Zaporizhzhia falls under a complete Russian control very soon. Is Ukrainian sitting easily by through these massive losses? Absolutely not. Instead, the Ukrainian government has begun to make highly dangerous, desperate decisions. Russian intelligence has issued a severe warning, exposing a potential of Ukrainian plot to alter the course of the war. The report that Ukraine is planning to orchestrate a false flag nuclear incident in Kinburn Spit region, using French and British radioactive material, aiming to terrify the global community into freezing the conflict. Meanwhile, Germany has reported agreed to supply long-range Taurus missiles to Ukraine. The Western strategy of pouring advanced weapons into Ukraine, which Kyiv then uses to hit Russian civilians, infrastructure, and launch drone strikes on cultural centers, has pushed Moscow fury to a boiling point. The situation has officially spiraled out of control, bringing us to the most dangerous phase of this entire war. Russia has made it clear if Western nations cross Moscow, establish red lines to assist Ukraine, Russia is ready to cross its own limits in response. This is why prominent Russian lawmaker Andrey delivered his world-shaking warning. He openly declared that Russia has no choice but to launch direct missile strike against the manufacturing facilities, factories, and military hubs within European nations working day and night to supply Ukraine. Think about the delivery implications of this shift. A war that has been strictly contained within Ukrainian territory is now poised to spill directly onto the home soil of the UK, France, and Germany. And European nations initially believed they could use Ukraine as a proxy to inflict heavy casualties on Russia, fracture its economy, spark domestic unrest, and force to collapse all without suffering and direct damage themselves. They assumed Russia would limit its realization to Ukraine. For a long time, Russia did exactly that, is avoiding direct NATO versus Russia confrontation. But now that those vital red lines are shattered, Moscow is no longer deterred by the threat of the direct war with NATO. If European nations continue to ship weapons, their own cities will become active Russian targets. When Russian missiles begin hitting European soil, the West will face an agonizing reality check. The moment they suffer direct domestic casualties and infrastructure losses, Europe will be forced to either completely cut off its support for Ukraine or enter a direct catastrophic war against Russia, war where Europe would bear the absolute brink of the destruction. Military analysts are now issuing a grim warning. The dark days when Russian incursions, ballistic missiles, ICBMs, could rain down like a storm over world-famous European capitals like London, Paris, and Berlin are dangerously close. If Russia initiates displays, European nuclear power plants and critical infrastructure will be reduced to ash, and no global diplomatic effort will be able to stop World War III. Will Europe swallow its pride, halve its weapons shipments, and avert a global apocalypse? Or will they continue using Ukraine as a proxy, transforming the entire European continent into a wasteland of ice? Only time will be tell, but one thing is clear. Russia has reached its limit, and European nations must think carefully or face total devastation. And share your thoughts on this escalation in the comments below. If you found this update valuable, please like this video and subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon and you never missed any urgent updates, and I will see you in the next video with more breaking coverage.